Hi guys, welcome to the Mandy Effect. My name is Mandy. In today's episode, we are going to try something a little bit different from the podcast. I thought it would be really good if I started to share my own story, my own journey, and my own learnings. My goal is to build a community to help many of you out there that may be in search of the similar answers or are going through a similar situation. In today's episode, I am going to talk about my journey when I was navigating a divorce and the things that I wish someone had told me, or these are the things that I would tell if someone were to reach out to me for advice, or many of the women that have reached out, these are the things that I find I kind of tell people more often than you would think. So this is not in any particular order, but when I was reflecting, taking notes in my diary, I was just kind of reflecting and thinking back from day one to where I am today. I think the first and most important thing that you need to remember when you are going through a breakup or a divorce or a separation, especially when you have children, is that you are going to be okay. It is so hard to believe and feel in that moment when there's a rage of emotions going on and fear of what's going to happen, what are people going to say. It is so important to remember that one day you will come out of this. You will be stronger. You will, the older version of you, the version maybe that's 10, 15 years from now, will look back and thank you for taking this step in the journey that's ahead of you. So just remember that things are going to be okay no matter what. It is very normal to think, what are people going to say? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my kids? Nobody planned it, right? You're grieving a relationship that was lost much before than this moment, but you're taking the time to process the actuality of it now happening. There's a lot of emotions that are going through your head right now, but it's very important to gather yourself and start really looking at the picture strategically and also being more mindful. So I think the first and most important step is to get your labs done. Go to a doctor, tell them what's going on, and get yourself checked out to make sure your vitamins, your nutrition, anything that your body may be lacking, you might want to start kind of taking care of those things first. If you have an empty cup, you're not going to be able to fill other people's cup, especially if you have little tiny fingers and feet that are dependent on you. The next thing you want to do is reach out for professional help. Therapy can be expensive. Hiring a life coach can be expensive. There are a lot of free resources that are available, whether it's on YouTube, self-help books. But I think if you take the time to speak to someone who is a professional that can listen to your situation and help you with mechanisms that are going to help you make your journey a little bit easier, I think it's a really good idea. And I truly believe that talking to someone that understands the work and the situation that's at hand is going to help you feel a lot more sane and calm. This is a person that you don't know. They're offering you a service. They've gone to school. They have a lot of experience, and they'll be able to give you a non-biased opinion, as well as validation, as well as confirmation that you are taking the right steps. They may also point out things that you may have not thought of on your own. Sometimes you already know what you need to do, but one sentence or one word from someone else can really kind of light the moment, or kind of like it can really shed some light onto your situation and help you proceed forward. Okay, so then next you want to start looking at the practical things. Where will you live? How will you be funded? Who is going to be your little village that's going to help support you and your child in case there's an emergency? It's always a good idea to have someone, at least one person that you can reach out to in case you need help with childcare, in case you are going to be working full-time. There will be daycare facilities that are available, but in case your child needs someone, it's always good to have someone that you know that you can trust close to you especially if you have to move out or move to a different city or a different town. The next thing you want to start thinking about, other than housing and your living situation, is going to be your finances. At the end of the day, it's really important to have somewhat of a savings account, money in your account. If you are a stay-at-home mom, start looking into taking some courses, asking yourself, what is your skill set? What are things that you are good at, that you're passionate about, that can help you start earning money, so your financial situation could be a little bit better. Start looking at if there's any, government available funds or benefits that can help aid you. I personally never used any, but I know there's a lot of funding that is available, different kinds of benefits. If you do the homework and look into it, sometimes a little bit of money could go a long way. So one other thing you want to start thinking about is, who do you want to talk to in your family? So in my case, it was very important that I had a conversation with my family on what's happening, what is coming their way, why I have made the decisions that I have chosen to make. And also, if your children are old enough, you have to find a way to tell them, age appropriate, what is going on and how things will be a little bit different. You need to remind your children or your child that your love for them doesn't change. The situation at hand has changed and will change, but you're always going to be there for them. If you have children that are in a daycare, that will be going to a daycare, or that are in some sort of a educational institution, whether it's a school or preschool, it's always a good idea to talk to their educator, let them know what's going on at home. If they notice any changes in your child's behavior, keep an eye out, keep them informed. Also keep open communication. Send a quick email, hey, how are things going? Also take the time to check in with your child, ask them how their day was, pay close attention to your child. If they have any questions, answer them. Try to keep the situation more positive than to dwell on the past and the things that are going wrong, but also be accepting of the situation at hand. The most important thing I can tell you when it comes to children is to never speak ill of the other parent. When you are going through a situation, it is not your child's fault, and they should not be the one to hear your arguments, your burden. You should not be going to your children, even if you're in little words, trying for advice or putting your problems on them. Always take the time to be supportive and positive, make your child feel loved and safe, but never ever speak ill about the other parent. They are the biological parent of your child, and you always have to remember that. In fact, you should always tell your child that both of us love you no matter what. Sometimes we end up in situations that we didn't plan for, but what matters at the end of the day is how you showed up. Definitely take the time to learn who you are, get to know yourself, and start your healing journey early. Focus on the right mindset, focus on your career, focus on your child. Don't dive right into dating. It's very normal to think, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to find someone? Right now is not the time to think about that. Put those thoughts on hold and come back to them when you're ready. At the same time, don't take the time to start looking out into dating, friends with benefit. Just to put a disclaimer out there, I did not do that. I notice a lot of people want to get it out of their system. Doing that is not going to make you happy. It's not going to help you. If anything, it's going to make you feel worse about the situation. Instead, take this time to really focus on you and your child and start setting realistic boundaries for yourself. Also, don't entertain the idea of relatives asking too many questions. Let them know what your expectations are and put a pin to it. One thing you have to remember is you did not go into this relationship and planned a separation or a breakup. You are in this situation, and now you have to shift your mindset. Focus on your learnings, focus on growth, focus on rebuilding, focus on finding yourself again. Reach out to your old friends, connect with people, figure out who you are now, and figure out that person you're trying to be. When it comes to, growth, you want to take the time to learn new things, routines, rituals. All of these little things will help you become a better version of yourself, and they definitely help you so much in your healing. So taking the time out, even if your child is very little, for your child and yourself, I call them reset Sundays. It's really important, like I said, to build new routines, build new traditions. It's about trial and error, what's working, what's not working. Always find some time in your day to sit down and reflect what went well, what's not working, what are my priorities, what do I want to accomplish this week. Also invest a lot of time in self-help books. If there's podcasts that you resonate with, if there is something in your healing journey, such as exercising, moving your body, all of these things make a huge difference. Take the time out of your schedule, spend it with your child, 30 minutes once a week. Just check in. How are things going? How's school going? Is there anything that mommy can support you with? Take this time to take yourself out on dates. Don't be afraid to go on a coffee by yourself. Go to the movies by yourself. At the same time, get to know your surroundings. If your child is a toddler or they're, in their early years of preschool, take the time to get to know other parents, coordinate play dates, be very intentional and mindful on how your child is in these situations. Are they more clinging towards you? Are they going out there and playing? That will tell you a lot about where your child may need help. In addition to seeking help for yourself, it's always a good idea to talk to your child's pediatrician. If you think they're old enough to speak to a therapist, it's always good to get them help early on. This kind of helps the child, put their feelings into perspective. Before finding a therapist, make sure you have a session with the therapist. Let your child know what's going on. It's really important to stay in consistent communication with your child so they are aware, they are also on board with you. This is also a time for you to really take the time to get to know your child. They may not be able to vocalize their feelings, but you will notice things within their demeanor, with the way they could be playing, the way they could be feeling a little bit more needy. Always find time to be present for yourself as well. And the most important thing is to always tell your child how much you love them, 100,000 times a day. Give them a lot of love, give them a lot of kisses, give them a lot of peace. You want your child to know they are safe in every way possible. The other thing that I feel is very important is to always show up for the big important moments in your child's life. So when my daughter was little, the Mother's Day events, the graduations, the Halloween parades, or the Thanksgiving events, they mean so much to your child than you would ever know. I remember when Vera was very little, she was in preschool, and when they would have performances at school, and the moment I would meet my eyes with her, it would just light up her day. Their eyes are searching for you in that crowd, in the audience. So always take the time to show up. If you say you will, keep your word. Even if that means going out of your way, those little things definitely help in building you a much stronger bond with your child. And those are the things that they'll remember is, my mom always showed up, or my dad always showed up for me. Another thing I want to touch on, I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the video, this is not in any particular order, but my goal was to keep it in more of a easy flow from like beginning to end. A lot of people, when they are going through this, there's big emotions going on. We are very scared. We as humans have the natural tendencies to do a lot of negative self-talk. Don't play into the victim mentality. Instead, you are going to come out of this and be in the mindset that this is a phase that is new for me and I have the chance to learn and evolve. So don't focus on the negative self-talk. Anytime you have a negative thought, think of it as, what is this experience or situation at hand trying to teach me, or change that into a positive. It is a very difficult time. It's a very uncertain time, but one day with little baby steps, you will come out of this. It's never going to be perfect. You can have it all. You're just not going to be able to have it all at the same time. And sometimes, when we do think that, it could always be one step better, that's always a moment to take a step back and say, look how far I've come. So always take the time to look back at your journey, to look back at your growth. Take the time to write things down, what you're feeling, what your emotions are. Be grateful, find happiness in the little things, and just remind yourself of how blessed you are that you have this journey. And now that you're going to be able to start a new chapter. And at the end of the day, the accountability is on you. No one's going to come and rescue you. You have to take the time to do the work and figure out who you are and rediscover yourself. And on that, you have little teeny toes that are depending on you. Take that as a learning and rebuilding and growth than to what am I going to do in this situation, being the victim, why am I in it, why did God do this to me. Think of it more as, what is God trying to teach me in this moment. The goal is not going to be how you are going to get from one point to another. It is a strategy. You do have to plan things. You do have to do your homework. You have to figure out what your resources are. But the goal at the end of the day is to figure out how you are going to show up. The goal is to show up for yourself, for your child in the best way possible, and to come out of this the best version that you could be.